Oh, hi. That came up fast. Hey, this is Greg. Hey, I guess my channel has become largely me giving, well, I don't know about largely, but I feel I've been blessed to have a few unusual ideas about how to live life. And I guess I put most of them now on my channel, or a lot of them, and this is going to be another one of them. And this one centers on mouth breathing, and I imagine you know what that is. People criticize what they call mouth breathers. It's people who, instead of kind of keeping their mouth closed and breathing through their nose, somehow their jaws relax and they start breathing through their mouth. And I think people, for whatever reason, think that someone who's doing that looks stupid. You sort of do see it occasionally. You see mentally retarded people on the street, and for whatever reason they do seem to sometimes let their lower jaw go slack and swing down, and they breathe through their mouth. Now, I have played a lot with mouth breathing. I'm kind of interested in my mouth anyway, just thinking up unusual things to do with it. You would see that if you watched my other videos on my channel. But what I found is that mouth breathing works best when you're lying in bed on your back, at least for me. I don't know. I've asked a few people and I can't remember their answers. My mouth produces saliva more or less all day long. I would say it produces it and it sort of mounts up in my mouth, and then I swallow it, like I just swallowed some there. Maybe, and again, maybe every, I want to say 20 seconds or so. And the difficulty with mouth breathing when you sit up is that when you produce that saliva, it's hard to keep your mouth open and swallow it. I don't know why, but keeping your mouth closed kind of braces your mouth and throat, and it's much easier to swallow it. I don't know, if your mouth produces saliva, try sometime keeping your mouth open and actually swallowing that saliva. And I think you'll find that it's quite difficult to do, because I guess the saliva kind of, when your mouth is open, the saliva naturally sinks to the bottom of your mouth, and if your mouth is open, you have to use the muscles of your mouth to sort of pull it back towards your throat to swallow it. But if your mouth is open, it seems to be harder to do that. But when you lie in bed on your back, you are assisted by gravity. So your mouth is open because you're mouth breathing, and your mouth is still producing saliva, but you don't have to pull it towards the back of your throat. It just flows there because of you being lying down and your head is facing up. So you really can mouth breathe when you lie down on your back. You can't do it actually when you lie on your side. It becomes the same problem because you don't have the assistance of gravity taking your saliva towards the back of your throat. But you can do it lying on your back. So I will lie in bed, but it's still difficult. You can really feel it in your throat. It's much easier on your throat to swallow when your mouth is closed than when it's open. And so it takes practice. I think it's really fun to play with. I would encourage anybody to lie on their back and start breathing through their mouth and start playing with whether they can do it and how long they can do it. But one thing I have discovered is that when I'm breathing, it's easier. What I do is, if there's saliva there that pools in my mouth, I swallow it either when I reach the top of my inhalation or the bottom of my inhalation. I pause. I don't try to breathe in or exhale at the same time as I'm swallowing the saliva, because then, I don't know, it just becomes more difficult because you're trying to do two things, which is inhale or exhale and swallow the saliva. You might have to try it, and if you try it, I would imagine I don't know for sure if everybody's body works the same way, but I would imagine you will have the same experience. Now, I'd like to make a video about mouth breathing, but I can't really do it on the webcam because I can't really lie down in front of the camera. So once I get a camera, I anticipate, or I hope to make one showing more about mouth breathing. And there are advantages to mouth breathing. For one thing, it's kind of relaxing to just let your jaw go slack and breathe that way. And then you actually get more oxygen coming in because it's coming in through your mouth. It's a bigger hole, and you get more oxygen. And that oxygen can be relaxing. I have discovered if I'm tense and I'm getting more oxygen through my mouth, I tend to relax often. But a third advantage, which I never would have anticipated, in fact I wouldn't have anticipated any of these advantages, but this is really strange and really took me by surprise. But all my life I've had a hairless chest, no hair on my chest, very smooth chested, lots of hair on my belly but nothing on my chest. But check this out, when I started mouth breathing, I very quickly started sprouting a pretty nice amount of hair on the skin over my lungs, which is mainly around my nipples. And I really think that it was because my lungs were getting more air, and it somehow stimulated the nipples to, or the area around the nipples, to produce more hair. So I'm going to show you that. I hope it will be apparent. I probably should have tested it before I made this video. So I'm going to unbutton my shirt and stand up and show you the hair around the nipples, and I hope it won't be too shocking to you, but it's just kind of an interesting thing. And I don't know, it's still kind of, it's still kind of pale-ish hair. It's not like a real thatch like on your head. I hope it will show up on the webcam, but let me see. In fact, well, it's not really showing very well, at least from the angle I can see it. I can sort of, if I get closer, nuts, it's very hard to even, I can't see even what I'm seeing. I can't monitor it, and I'm all confused because everything's backwards on the webcam. Well, you can only see, I think, a little hair right around the nipple. But I can tell you that there's quite a bit more hair, and maybe you could see it. When I stood up, I had to look down at my webcam image, at an angle, so it was really hard to tell what was showing on the screen. But it is a fairly good amount of hair. Now, it's not over the heart. It's around the nipples, and then it extends towards the center of the chest, but it kind of is right over the area I imagine that the lungs are over. And it's a fairly nice amount. I mean, on my left nipple there's probably now 300 hairs kind of extending around the nipple and towards the heart, and they're all fairly developed, like close. We'll say about an inch long each in general. Some might be a little shorter, and that has gone from nothing to 300 hairs, and I attribute that to mouth breathing. And this is kind of a bad video. I wasn't sure if it doesn't show up, then it's not as effective, but I swear to you, let's see, I'll raise my right hand, I swear to you the hair is there. And I just thought it's an interesting phenomenon. If you had never thought about it, I thought it might just amuse you to think that a body would be that responsive. I really like having more hair on my chest area. It makes me feel more masculine. And this hair is really, this particular hair that grew is really attractive. It just has a very soft look to it. Maybe because it's associated with breathing. I mean, breathing is one of your most fundamental functions, and your body probably breathes very skillfully. You breathe all your life, and your body probably gets good at it. And probably if breathing started producing hair, maybe that would be very attractive hair, because your body, gosh, I'm not articulating this super well, but it's like, I think that hair around my lungs, over my lungs, is exceptionally soft hair, and maybe the act of breathing is a very soft act. It is kind of soft, right? It's not like, I mean, air is so soft because it's diffuse. It doesn't, it's not like a solid thing. It's more like a liquid, actually. And maybe this soft act of breathing produces soft hair. But this hair is very attractive and makes me feel good, and etc., etc. And I'd be very curious what would happen if a woman started mouth breathing more. Would she start producing more hair over her lung area? But what would that look like, because she has breasts? Would there be hair around the base of her breasts or towards the nipple, or nothing? Maybe she would produce nothing. Maybe women's bodies are constructed differently. And would a woman like it? I'm not of the school that loves hairy women, but this particular hair is really attractive, and kind of, it's not like real crude, like stiff animal hair. It's so soft, and it's just gives a nice shade to that area. A nice, I can't think of a better word than shade. It just adds another very subtle coloration and texture to that area. So it's conceivable to me that a woman would like it, or some would. If some developed hair there, they might shave it off, which would be easy to do, but they still might enjoy playing with mouth breathing. But anyway, a bunch of ideas there for you. If you use them, you might enjoy them. If you don't use them, you might enjoy knowing about them, or they give you something to think about or talk about, or increase your awareness. So let me know any reaction. Yeah, it'd be really fun to hear what people think, or if hearing my experience brings to mind anything they've ever experienced.